My parents taught me always tell the truth. If you do something wrong, well, you're going to get in trouble. But if you do something wrong and you lie about it, you're going to get in 3 times the trouble. So don't lie about stuff. That was the lesson. I took that lesson to heart. Don't lie. Don't lie to my parents. Don't lie to people. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. That's important. And I remember my sisters teasing me about Santa Claus and telling me, oh, Santa Claus doesn't exist. And I said, of course they exist. Mom and Dad say they exist. And Mom and Dad said, never lie. Of course they wouldn't lie to me. And I had to discover that my parents who taught me pacifism, my parents who taught me that people are inherently good, they lied to me. They lied to me about Santa Claus. And if they lied to me about Santa Claus, what else were they lying to me about? And I think this was the beginning of my path of cynicism. And then I got into school and the bullying started. And so I'd come crying home to my mom and I'd say, Mom, why are people bullying me? Why are people so mean? So I believed my mom when she told me when I was 8 years old that I would grow up and it would get better. And I grew up and it didn't get better. People were still bullies. My adolescent sister, 3 years older than me, she made damn sure I knew how much men suck. And I believed her. Why? Because men, well, men are aggressive. Men only have one thing on their mind. Men start wars. Men go out and kill people. Men suck. That was what I learned. And I get into my early 30s, and you know what? I start realizing that women suck too. And where's that leave me? That leaves me with people suck. Finally, I had enough. Finally, I started believing that, well, maybe people aren't good. Maybe people actually suck. And my pessimism grew, and my anger grew. But I got into my 40s, and I realized that the world wasn't the way that my dad portrayed it. And I blamed my dad. And I was mad. I was mad at my dad. I was mad. They lied to me again. They told me people are basically good, that society is growing and evolving, that we're discoverers, that we are going to the moon, that we are helping each other to solve our problems. And then I realized it wasn't as much my dad who taught me this beautiful vision. It was a vision of the future that Gene Roddenberry planted into everybody's consciousness. A TV show, Star Trek, back in the 60s, where we were finding our optimism. I still don't have the answer to my question. Are people inherently good? But I now believe it's the wrong question. It's a tough world out there. People are lost. People are manipulated. People are believing things that are keeping them on the edge of a wilderness. That maybe people suck, maybe people don't. Maybe people are good inherently. They're discoverers. They want to help people. They want to do this. And there are people who do that. And there's a part of all of us who want to do that. And I started realizing that my talents were going to waste. That I was withering. That I had a choice that I had to make. That I needed to get out of my situation there. I needed to stop being alone. I needed to stop having all the little voices in my head, all those bullies, all of that teasing, all of those messages that were put into my head as a kid. They had to go away. But I didn't know how to make them go away. And I still have feelings of cynicism. They're still there. I still am angry. It's still there. That the bullies were not going to define me. What was going to define me was my compassion to the people in front of me. My friend Purple, I knew for 20 years, and she was a good friend. And she got cancer. And we moved her into hospice. And then she was gone. And an experience that had brought me totally into the moment, into a euphoria of knowing what my purpose was over. For as hard as it was, it's a lesson that I am grateful that my friend Purple gave to me. It cost her life, but I grew through it. Because I learned what was important. I learned that being in the moment, that the smell of a flower, that the taste of your last chocolate, that these are the things to be there for people. This is what's important. Not the cynicism, not the hate, not the feeling like I was a victim, not to feel like the bullies had anything to say to me. We need to know our humanity. We need to know that we are not alone. And we're not. We're not alone. We're basically good. The inherent worth of all existence, it has value. And the value it has is the value we choose to see in it.